Yeah, this is a bona fide late night marathon.
Okay, don't worry about it, guys. We are doing this live.
Do it
We are
live.
back. We have GhostKing. We have a stream. Don't worry about it.
Boo.
I must have hit a hotkey or something that stopped the stream after I started it. Even though I don't have.
All right.
Okay.
Alrighty.
We are now good to give a countdown.
All right. So we will begin the run in 3. I will say go after 1, so not at 1. 3, 2, 1, go. Yay! We're beginning the late night block of the Cal Fire Relief Marathon. I just want to extend a very special thank you to everyone so far who's donated and keep up the good work. As I mentioned in one of my previous donations, this marathon actually means quite a bit to me personally. So this is Ys Origin, a 2006 PC action RPG. It's a prequel to the very first Ys game, which is one of the oldest action RPGs ever made and one of the genre-defining video games. It's actually a game that's older than Final Fantasy, believe it or not. So the route we are going to be playing is the any % Toll route, which Toll is a character you get for beating the game at least once. So you'll see a lot of characters such as these 2 goddesses here who are introduced more thoroughly in the other 2 characters' routes. You don't have to worry too much about story. I'll give a little bit of explanation here and there. There's a lot of cutscenes in this game, which extends what probably would be about an hour and 10-minute run into about an hour and 40 minutes. So to kind of elaborate, you might have looked on the Tiltify schedule and said, why does there say do the flashy thing in Ys Origin? Well, the answer is, late in the run, you actually get an ability referred to as Burst. You don't have to unlock this ability, it's optional, but it gives you a laser attack, kind of resembling a Kamehameha, or as Bowie the Hero put it when I did this run at RPG Limit Break, it looks a lot like a Gallic gun from Dragon Ball Z. So you have to sit through about a 2.5-minute long cutscene that kind of introduces the setup here. In contrast to the other 2 characters of this game who are sort of the heroes, Toll is more of an anti-hero / pseudo-villain to start off their game. He has his own little story of redemption, but we're kind of using the bad guy's power for our own benefit to start off. And our mission is to find the 2 goddesses who have escaped to this tower referred to as Darm Tower in order to find the Black Pearl, which is the MacGuffin of all mighty magical power. And we need to stop them from becoming the Pirates of the Caribbean, as I like to joke, because of Black Pearl. So this will introduce us to a little bit of combat here. I'm going to finish these guys off really quickly. And that's how the cookie crumbles. So for combat abilities, this game is actually very simple. You get jump, attack, a magic button, which there are 3 different types of magic, which will unlock slowly throughout the run. And our attack button has different options depending on what we're doing. If I double click, as you'll see I'm playing with mouse, you can also play this game with controller or keyboard, but mouse is the fastest for reasons I'll get into later. If you either stop on a keyboard or controller setup, or double click, you can do a slide attack, which I'll be using a lot. That lowers defense. There's a basic attack combo, a jump attack, which does a lot of damage to enemies in the air, and a downward thrust, which I don't use very much in this run. So getting into the movement of this game, you'll notice that I'm going to gravitate towards the right side of walls here, and the reason being is this game has a lot of programming shortcuts. And as a byproduct of this, running along a wall on the right side allows us to run faster than we should be able to, and this allows us to exploit all sorts of things. Also, oh my goodness, I'm failing super hard. So you'll notice I'm not actually finishing my combo here. We have an ability called combo canceling exclusive to mouse and keyboard setup, which is again a fortunate byproduct of the programming in this game. And we can repeat an attack in our combo so long as we repeatedly mash the attack button and left click, which stops and starts movement. So this is a newer movement setup that was recently found by the current world record holder, a Japanese runner by the name of Losvi. And that involves sliding into Godspeed, which is a wind magic that we do for movement that we just got. So to illustrate a little bit about wall running here. Oh my gosh, I'm dropping frames. To illustrate a little bit about wall running here, the way it works is if I'm pointing my cursor just shy of parallel on the right side of walls, I will get additional movement, and this includes all forms of movement, such as Godspeed, which is my wind dash, just to reiterate. Slide, and it also increases my jump height, which is busted as heck. Oops, I mistimed that. Unfortunately, I can't do wall runs on the left side of the wall, otherwise that gap would be really easy to clear, and we wouldn't actually need to hit that switch. So the first little story thing I need to do is grab this Rotafruit. I don't actually need to, well, side trip I should say. I don't actually need to because Toll is broken, but I do because I can. Alright, I'm just going to do my mouse setup for this. We're off to a shaky start here. So, like I said, they did not program abilities very well in this game. The ability Godspeed has a couple of frames in which Toll has no hit detection, so we can clip through all sorts of doors, barricades, and the like. So it makes this for an incredibly glitchy run. So this little cute, adorable creature here is a Roo, and it wants to be fed. So we're going to give it the Rotafruit that we picked up a little bit earlier. In return, it gives us an item called the Clerio Orb, which increases our max strength. Unlike other characters in this game, Toll will just absorb the ore, so you don't have to talk to anyone to equip it to your weapon. And so you just get that much stronger really quickly, which is why we do that first. Alright. So immediately afterwards, we go back to a room we've already visited to do a otherwise mandatory objective. And I can just clip through that door because we don't know the meaning of doors. Oh boy. This is the shaky run. Yeah. If I get above 140, I am never going to live this down. So current world record is 128.32. And the Japanese runner who got it is absolutely incredibly skilled at this game, to the point where I'm in second place and I'm 6 minutes behind him. So these bats are jerks. We don't have a jerk bird in this game, so we call them the jerk bats, because bats are never good in video games. I have to do my aerial attack in order to hit them for really any damage, because on the ground I only hit them for 1 or 2, even with defense reduction. And this is also because the game expects me to be at a higher level right now, but I'm only at level 2. So in doing that, we've unlocked our ability Boost, not to be confused with Burst. And this allows us to turn into a funny-looking purple-haired demon, because Toll has been given the power to do evil things. Boost mode increases my MP regeneration rate, changes the way I do attacks, and I take half damage. I can just activate this with a quick press of a button. So a little funny thing occurs in this cutscene here. Toll meets up with one of the other playable characters in this game, Unica, who has a much less glitchy run and is kind of seen as the sort of main character of this game, because this is a prequel before the rest of the East series, which pretty much all exclusively star a character by the name of Adol Kristen. So a consequence of this game stretching the screen a little bit for 16:9 resolution is in the bottom right corner. You'll see for a second Toll sprite appears. It's the only time this happens, and I always find it really amusing when it happens. So the story here is Unica's father was Toll's mentor, and he kind of went missing along with Toll, and they found him dead. So in this cutscene, Toll's like, "Your father's dead," and she's like, "I knew it. Was he slain by beasts?" And Toll says, "No, he lost a duel." She thinks, "Was it you?" And Toll just is like, all, smug, and is like, "What if it was?" And she just kind of goes ham on him, but he's vastly outclasses her in power. So it just makes for a silly little cutscene. So I want to get all 5 of these bats before they get into the air, which I almost got, but I just barely missed. For the next boss, I want to be at the level where I have 83 HP. We don't really keep levels memorized in this game, so we just kind of go by how much HP we have and call that, like, right now I'm at level 83. Which I think is the level 5. So that door clip I actually use the arrow keys for. It's not quite as simple, but it skips me from having to go get a key. And we literally do not know what the meaning of the word key is when we run this category, so that's just kind of the running joke of this game. The 2 bats at the start of this room, for whatever reason, take a lot more damage, or take a lot more hits to kill than the rest of the bats. You also see there's these little red, green, and red, blue, and yellow potions that get dropped. Those increase status effects, or those increase statuses like strength, defense, and MP regeneration. Strength is generally the most important, and it's especially important for an upcoming boss. So Toll, being the savvy guy that he is like, this room is too big. There's got to be something here. So now we have this ugly-looking first boss. This is actually the second boss, but we skipped another one just a little bit earlier. And we kind of don't like to talk about him. So the idea is to jump into his face and then use Godspeed to keep myself right up and close and personal. Unfortunately, they did not really design him very well, so I'll be jumping around his arms a lot. And he also spits out these annoying little bugs, which the goo they leave on the ground just causes me to slide all over the place, and it's very annoying. Optimally, I want to get 4 cycles in which I kill this guy by attacking him four times on his weak spot on the top of his head, but while that would be free, there is this green goop on the floor just left by the bugs that he spits out. And he'll start to try and swallow them. I normally am able to finish the cycle off before then, but if he eats the bugs back, okay, looks like we got a 4 cycle. If he eats the bugs back, he gets a little bit of health back, which is just extra annoying. So, EXP scales in this game, which is pretty cool. We do that fight at a lower level than we used to, so we end up actually getting more EXP. So you see this character for a little bit in one of the earlier cutscenes. Character's name is Epona. and she's not actually really relevant at all in Toll's story. She's more important in other character stories, but in this scene, she tells Toll, "Hey, there's this guy who's kind of like you, but he's a magic user in the tower." And Toll thinks, "Oh no, it's my stupid little brother." And yes, his stupid little brother is a stupid little brother, and I hate him. That being Hugo, one of the other 3 playable characters in this game, who up until recently, nobody actually did any speedruns of. So there's a lot of these cutscenes here where Toll just kind of flashes back. They make more sense if you've played the other routes, but again, we skip so much stuff that this is just an action run. But yeah, so until recently, when Dragon Dark decided to actually sink some time into routing and running Hugo, nobody actually ever really ran him very much. I think one person, which was the current Unica world record holder, did a run with Hugo. And you'll see why I don't like him very quickly. He is probably the biggest barrier to new runners of this game. Just because his boss fight is especially annoying. So, anyway, these cutscenes are just Toll reflecting on his time when he was sort of in this army, and they served these 2 goddesses, Rhea and Fina, who are prominent figures in the first 2 Ys games, and this is a prequel to those 2. Toll has kind of a star-crossed lover's relationship with one of them, and that comes up more in the story as we go on. But back to adventure. Alright, so I want to get up to 117 before the next boss. This barrier here, interestingly enough, these barriers are about the only thing that are relatively solid in this game. This is about, I think, the only one we can actually skip through, and it's not as easy as some of the other ones, because you have to jump, and if you mess up, you lose time. So I'm going to hit these guys and lure them up here to finish this guy, and they'll just kind of follow me up here, and I can finish them along the way. And we grab the silver bracelet, which allows us to run at really high speeds. Normally you have to toggle this, but I have a setting toggled where it says always dash when able, so I'm just always running at the speed that I get from silver bracelet. I'm looking for the bonus drops that these enemies give me, specifically the red ones and the yellow ones, because those will determine whether or not I can quick kill the next boss. Interesting thing to note about combo canceling. The way it works is, for the run, we want to do the first hit of his combo and when he's in his normal phase, and when he's in boost, we want to do the third hit of his combo. So you have to attack a couple of times and then start just mashing away at your left click and attack button. Which is a lot harder to time than just mashing both haphazardly. The armor I picked up was the black chain. I don't actually need to get it, but for safety reasons, I tend to pick it up in most runs. Just because the next boss is a total jerk. Okay, those are what I want. I want the red and the yellow one. Since I'm already at max, those just replenish the meter back up to full. So while I'm sliding, I'm going to equip my black chain here and just enter the boss fight. So I'm not actually going to really talk too much about how this fight works, because it's it's attention demanding, to say the least. Basically, Hugo's a jerk, and he wants to take out the traitor, even if the traitor is his own brother. So I'll explain how this fight sort of works afterwards, because it's very focus demanding, attention demanding. You have no idea how satisfying that is. So what happens in his boss fight is he summons a shield, which if I'm too close, it'll just knock me away and inflict me with an annoying status effect called Heavy. And that just makes this fight take so much longer. The laser he does also takes a bunch of damage. It used to be you just kind of had to pray that you could kill him quickly enough. But a fellow runner who has almost as good a time as I do with what would have been a better run had it not been a death. Had he not had a death. The runner by the name of Felvisage found that there is a way you can quickly kill Hugo by attacking a few times, using Godspeed to make sure you don't get too far away, and then using that to break his shield. The shield is kind of the source of all of the problems in that fight, so the fact that I got that there was really nice. That's why you need MP regen, because you'll run out of magic, or you won't be able to do enough damage if you run out of the strength bonuses. So, yeah, it's a very tricky fight. So, this Darkling here, who just menacingly walked up to us and talked to us, is Kishgal. He'll be a boss later on in the run, but basically, the story of the Darklings who Toll is sided with is they're kind of not so much evil, except for Dallas and Zava, the woman at the beginning of the game, and then kind of the mastermind of the group, who are like actually evil. The other two are just kind of in it for their own objectives. Kishgal specifically just wants to fight strong opponents, and he was actually the one who killed Unica's father as well as Toll's mentor, because those are the same person. Oh my gosh, that trick right there, I have to like literally be standing at the very edge of where it lets me, and then do 2 Godspeed dashes over. It's very precise, so getting it takes practice, and I only get it maybe 40% of the time. So getting the emerald there allows us to charge Godspeed, and that just increases the distance we go, but it also reduces the amount of MP we spend in order to use the ability, so I can just do it more often. Oops. Yeah, if I'm not... Again, just gate clips programming. Nothing new. So I will actually lock on to enemies with Godspeed if I am not actually moving my character. So sometimes I use that to my advantage, and other times it just becomes a pain. So I'm going to make a little detour here from where I'm supposed to go in order to grab a second root of fruit to feed a second rue. Just like with anywhere else in the game, wall running is useful, but in a different way here, where it helps you fall faster. So I want to like kind of just hug the right side of the wall, which it's on the right side of my character's hitbox at any time. So if I'm facing to the left, it's on the top. And now we get the 11 Strike Warhammer, which gives us the Thunderclaw ability. I have to be kind of careful there because teleporting causes me to de-equip the water scales, and I can drown. Every runner of this game has at least a few bad things that happen to them once, and then they never happen again. And one of them is every runner of this game is drowned at least once. So these turtles here have basically a ridiculous amount of defense, and so I can't kill them without anything but their weakness, which is Thunderclaw, which is why we had to get it in order to move on. One thing I neglected to really mention earlier, but will now. We run this game on the easy difficulty. There are 5 difficulties: very easy, easy, normal, hard, and very hard, otherwise known as Nightmare, which is what the game calls it. We run on the second easiest difficulty because the easiest difficulty is literally no challenge. And any higher difficulty than easy just proves to be more grind heavy. The only one that anyone's really routed has been Nightmare, which is, God, over an hour longer in like every East game that it's in, if not more. And the world record holder of easy is also... Ah, shoot, I didn't want to do that. Well, I'm just going to finish these guys off then. The world record holder has done some runs in normal. So I actually want to be at 129 here. I got an extra level up, so I just decided to grind up to try and make up for things. 129 is the lowest I can get the quick kill on the next boss with. The estimate on this, it's actually supposed to be 140, but with the additional incentive and just the way the schedule ended up being, it's listed as 145, so that gives me a little bit more time. My PB is a 134.38. So this boss is pretty notorious amongst casual players because he kills you. It's not necessarily the most intuitive boss to fight, and he likes to spin around and troll you. Like, does a lot of damage. So I'm trying to make sure I finish him off before he can start spinning around and just utterly trolling me, which I can do on this difficulty. On higher difficulties, it's much harder. So once I've done that, I want to... he's not playing the way I want him to. This should work out just fine. Okay, we didn't get what we wanted. Also, I'm getting stun locked here. So I'm probably going to have to do 3 spins. Just because this guy is a jerk. Also, there's these poison orbs everywhere, which just get in the way. I tend to knock them away if I can. Alright, I'll have to settle for 3 spins. Ideally, I'm able to get him to contort in such a way that I can finish him off before he starts that whole animation. There we go. So yeah, that boss is just a pain. Alright, so we'll be entering the next big cutscene. If there's any time for donations, feel free to go ahead and read them, Freddy. Or, there is time for donations. If there are any donations, feel free to read any.
None at the moment. Well, one, but we're dealing with an issue. But we will say that we are working with the Red Cross to raise money for the Wildfire Relief Fund. That's why we're here. There's been a lot of issues with all the wildfires down there, and it's just as bad this year, if not worse, than in previous years. So we've turned this into an annual thing, and hope to keep continuing it for years to come.
Hey, I remember reading somewhere that the fires that have hit California this year are something like the costliest in the state's history, if not like the entire country's history. I don't remember exactly which of the two, but it's been very serious.
Definitely.
So, speaking of fire, we're just about to enter the Guilty Fire area. Wonderful transition, I know. The next boss, again, you can just clip through everything. The next boss I want to be at 152 for, and that's mainly because that's just a good level to have to do damage. I'm going to take a little detour here to grab this other Rotafruit. We didn't used to actually do this in our route, but the usage of Slide into Godspeed increases generally the need for MP regeneration for movement in this run. So it's about a 30-second sacrifice for about a minute worth of save. Oops. So you can clear gaps like that. I actually don't need to finish these guys off. Alright. So this trick here is a little bit weird to explain, so let me do that first. So the way this trick works... Oh, and by the way, there's the goddess that we're looking for, but she doesn't have what we want. And anyway, similarly to how we can clip through doors by exploiting Godspeed's frames of no hit detection, I will actually enter this boss fight with 0 hit detection, meaning the boss cannot touch me or damage me or really do much of anything. So long as I don't use Godspeed again, that is. So since the goddesses know who Toll is, they have a little conversation which gives Zava just enough time to pop in unannounced and say, "Hey, we're going to take you captive." However, before any of this can happen, one of the priests from the good guys, this guy by the name of Shion, comes in to try and save her. I don't know, I find the look on his face kind of subtly menacing. Anyway, this fight is just hilarious. So I take no damage, and the game doesn't even detect that I'm making contact with anything. So you see, I'm literally just running right through him. So what I want to do is wait for him to start attacking me and then either slide or just kill his shield with a charged Thunderclaw. And the reason we want to slide instead, also I missed my Thunderclaw, is because if we start to chase him, he just runs off around the arena. Number one most important thing with this fight is I want to make sure my combo is up constantly. You'll see on right above my character's little portrait, there's a little bar that's glowing with a rainbow, and that is the EXP multiplier. For every hit I do on most enemies other than bosses, not including bosses that have a sprite rather than like a full 3D model, I get 1% additional EXP for when I kill an enemy. The way that works is it goes up to 1.99, meaning that when maxed out, I get 1.99, or basically 2 times the EXP I would if I had no combo. So before we're able to finish the job on the priest who we had betrayed, the mages come to the rescue, and we are kind of backed into sort of a corner, but we have the ability of teleportation, which is really nice. This game gives you the ability to teleport at the very beginning of the game, which I've noticed not a lot of RPGs do. So this little tower is called Rado's Annex. For whatever reason, this tower can support an entire side building on the side of the tower that's like doesn't make any physics-based sense, but whatever, magic. You'll see a treasure chest on the left here, and inside that treasure chest is a little thing called a key, but we don't actually need to get the key because Toll is busted. So this is actually the last time we'll be going here, even though the game wants us to go here 3 times. Anyways, now that we've captured one of the 2 goddesses, Dallas decided to put a seal on her to greatly limit her magical power, so that we can look out for her sister, who probably has the Black Pearl. But alas, because these 2 have past history, Toll can't just walk away. And Fina here decides to give him the silver harmonica, which was actually a present he gave to defeat his sister, Rhea. And just putting that through this barricade took up all of her power. That's just kind of to show you how powerful this shield is. And she just kind of says, I believe in you, and Toll's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm evil. And of course, you can kind of just see through him. Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, with running this game, there's a lot of cutscenes.
So as a reminder, we have a large number of prizes being raffled off, including the game you are watching right now.
Yeah, as much as I've been talking during this run, I've kind of neglected to leave some time to just stop and hear the music, because this game's soundtrack is actually really good.
Whoops, I forgot to unmute myself here so you can hear me. Anyway, so yeah, like I said, we have a bunch of prizes being raffled out. You get 1 raffle ticket per $5 donation, up to a maximum of 5. So $25 gets you a maximum chance to win this game among many others featured in this marathon. So get your donations in, and we will get you in that drawing. Sorry, go ahead now.
No worries. So the music in this game is actually produced in-house by Falcom, the developer. They have their studio or their own music production group called Team JDK, and they basically just make all the music for this series, as well as the Legend of Heroes series, and pretty much any other Falcom developed game. And yeah, if you want something to like, if you want to explore video game music, I heavily just suggest going to Spotify or YouTube or Google, whatever the Google App Store has, and just typing in Falcom JDK and then just listening to that playlist for a while. I'm guessing it's probably just picking up my volume pretty loudly because I'm not streaming my own audio. Oops. Yeah, trying to control mouse controls for this part is not the easiest. Ah, darn, I missed it. This is one of the more platform-heavy segments. I've been known to screw this up a lot, so I'm playing it a little bit safe. Yeah, we got through it without a hitch. So, other thing to cross off the list of things that new runners of this game managed to screw up a lot is everyone dies to the axes at least once. I took an unfortunate amount of hits there. Axes do about 17 damage, so they'll kill you in 10 hits. And there's quite a few of them, so you have to look out for them. Thankfully, there is a checkpoint very shortly after this. I'm just taking this safe. Oh man, that would have actually really sucked. I have never died to that. Used a little bit of iframes with boost. I burned my boost in order to get out of that safely, but we're fine. So this room is the demonic corridor. You can't get through it without some sort of demon power or some sort of cleansing power, and Unica tried and just fell unconscious. So Tola leaves her with her father's sword because we went and talked with the ghost of her father a little bit ago. And although Tola does have the silver harmonica, he thinks, no, I don't have the right to play this. So he just thinks, alright, we can just boost through. But before we do that, I'm going to get this to get the boost, because it's a boost max power-up, and I'm going to take a little detour here. I don't want to be boosted for this, because if I'm in boosted state, Tola can speak to the ruse like they are normal NPCs, rather than just seeing them speaking this gibberish. And I want to get this item here called the Ring of Ease. Not to be confused with the title of the game, which is pronounced Ease. We recently ran our own series marathon of every game in the East series on the RPG Limit Break channel, and the one thing that came up probably the most was how the heck do you pronounce this series? And I saw a few people discussing earlier how the heck you pronounce this series. Ease, any of those are generally seen as fine, and I personally kind of have stopped caring about it at this point. So for these guys, I want to use Jump Claw into charged Thunder Claw, because that just is the most consistent way to do damage against bulky enemies. So the Ring of Ease that we picked up, which I haven't really gone over, I'll get to that in just a second, actually. So that skip there saves about 10 seconds by using the newly gotten Charge Inferno. But the Ring of Ease reduces all magic expelled costs by 20%, so it's very useful to have equipped. So we're going to do a little bit of grinding here, because the next boss we want to be at least 175 and almost ready to level up again and exploit this game's EXP curve system. So just a couple more waves. Not a bad grind. I'm doing pretty good. Hope everybody's having a good evening so far. Enjoyed the runs.
We actually have a new donation from Unit 92 Ration for $50
Oh, nice.
with a comment less than 3 or heart.
Thank you very much for the donation. So this door is notoriously evil amongst Unica runners, but it's very easy to clip through as Towel. So you just kind of trial and error your way through with the directional pad. So this guy here is the boss that's actually in the demo. And he's a giant metal monster who likes to punch me. And I don't know, there's not too much to say about Galaldi here. Because it's a marathon and I'm having fun here, I'm gonna try for the 3 cycle. Ah, darn, I missed it. Well, rip that. So you can actually jump into his mouth and do more damage than like 25%. But if you do 25%, he just automatically pulls his head back like that. Darn, I messed up. So I'm going to play this fight just a little bit safe, because dying here is kind of really bad. You can actually jump into his mouth and then hit his weak spot from inside, because his head is not very well programmed. And you can actually get a 3-cycle kill. I don't personally do this in very many of my runs. Oh my god, this is still messing this up. I personally don't do this in very many of my runs because it saves 6 seconds and risks the loss of about 25. Had to play that end of that fight pretty safe because I was down to 13 health and one more hit would have killed me. So yeah, like I was saying, we run this game on the easy difficulty, but that does not make this easy. It's routed very carefully around how much experience you need in order to take fights on as quickly as possible at the lowest level possible. Oh, I was not quite in the cutscene yet. How many East games are there? There are a lot. This is a 30-year-old series. However, if we're talking numerical entries, not including the various remakes of them all, there is 1 through 7, which have all been localized in some capacity. 8, which is out in Japan, but not out in the States yet. And then this one, which is a prequel to 1 and 2. Although Adol, who is the main character in every numbered East game, is only in this game as a bonus character. You can play as him for a few side moments. Oh yeah, so this game has a super arranged soundtrack. It's really cool sounding. You can actually modify this game's files, and I know a couple of runners who do. I personally choose to keep my sound files the original just because I'm used to practicing with those. So in this cutscene, in a nutshell, what happens is Unica says, "Hey, thanks for saving me." And Tolla's like, "What are you talking about? I'm evil." And she's like, "No, you're not." And Tolla's like, "Yeah, I'm not." Kind of the series history a little bit. A lot of the games in the series have been remade in some capacity. Like, East 3 was a SNES game that was 2-dimensional, and notoriously difficult. Like, you could die in the tutorial fight on some of its higher difficulties. Since then, it's been remade into The Oath of Felghana, which is on Steam, and I highly recommend it because it is a really good game alongside this one. Ys 4 had like 2 original versions, which were the Mask of Ys and the Dawn of Ys, or Ys. And then they got remade into Ys Celceta, which is an entirely different version of Ys 4, but nonetheless is kind of now the canon Ys 4. 1 and 2 have been remade probably just as many times on just as many different consoles, if not more, than Final Fantasy 1 and 2. So, anyways, in this cutscene, this is kind of when Toho gives Rhea, who, like I said, he has a star-crossed lover's relationship with, even though she is a goddess, although not an omnipotent goddess. The time when he gave her kind of a gift, and then also him and Saul, Tova, Unica's father, just said the time when they decided that they were going to leave from their army and do some investigation in the world on their own, which eventually led to Saul being killed by Kishgal. Actually, I shouldn't be killing these guys. So this is a little bit of a deviation. I don't normally grab this Rotafruit, but it's the quickest one to go out of my way for in order to get burst later. So I want to be at 192, and I want to take care of these enemies because they get in the way of me clipping through this door. This door has actually a very pixel perfect door clip, so one thing I personally do is I have mouse keys enabled. Let's try this again. Mouse keys allow me to use my number pad to manually move my mouse cursor 1 pixel at a time. I thought for sure that was it. I think there's just one down a little bit. There we go. So I'm just comboing this guy because these bombs can just destroy me. The nice thing about Thunderclaw is a charged Thunderclaw will heal me 1 health per tick of damage. So, as long as I'm in boost, I can recover health off of these guys pretty easily. So, I have actually timed it. It's faster to just run out of this room than it is to teleport back to this warp crystal. So, we just got the double jump. Also, neat little little thing to show off. If you use the slide into Godspeed, the camera on that staircase just flips out for a second. So these guys I just want to kill with Thunderclaw, because Thunderclaw has a sort of pulling effect. It was a very fast kill on these enemies. So the whole point of this cutscene is to show off that undead creatures can't be killed by normal means. However, just in the nick of time. So this is the other goddess, Rhea. You can tell the difference because they have different portraits, but the most obvious difference, and this carries over to both their sprite and their portrait, is Rhea has bangs on her hair. Also, I think they have slightly different facial features, but it's very nuanced. Anyways, so she has the black pearl, but at this point, Toll's just questioning his motives, so he's not. So he's just kind of having a normal conversation here and lets her go rather than just taking her right away. I don't think I would have noticed that, actually. I'm not sure if they have darker hair, or if that's just an effect of the shadowing on the portraits. I don't know, it seems like to me Rhea has a slightly more demure stature. So the item we get here is the silver chimes. As long as I have those equipped, I can kill undead creatures, but I'm never going to have them equipped because I never actually need to kill undead creatures. There's one room in the game where they want you to, but like, Toel doesn't know the meaning of the word door. So Toel says he needs to head back to Rado's annex, so we're going to head in that general direction. Quick note, these scarabs in this room are a nightmare. You have virtually no hit stun in this game, so they can just combo you to death. One of them actually followed me up here somehow. To illustrate that no door is safe in this game, I'm going to clip through this one. It's actually not really productive to do so. It saves 3 seconds if you do it first try, but if you don't, it's just a waste of time. There we go. So it's like many of the tricks in this game, it's actually first try or it's slower. What is a door, though? A miserable pile of splinters. So right now I'm just making sure I don't make contact with the scarabs because they're ruthless and they give me nightmares. So that jump's a little tight. Because I can do wall run, I can Godspeed over it, but on the way back it's much more dangerous to use a charged Godspeed, and this room is also on a cycle. So I can afford to take my time getting over here. Sometimes I can kill that guy before this platform hits the ground. Otherwise, it's just not worth it. So that door used to be incredibly hard to skip through. I found my own setup that's much more consistent, but a little bit more tricky to actually get done. There's a very precise spot on the door, so I'm going to try and get this room. Okay, that wasn't perfect, but the sand physics work very weird in this game. Some sand works like normal, it kind of slows you down. Other sand works almost like ice, for whatever reason. This sand in the room that I was just in, as well as the sand in the room I'm about to be in, works more like ice, because there's no actual ice locale in this game. One neat little trick, if you press attack and jump at the same time, like the exact same time, rather than like a slight delay, you just do one single attack in midair rather than your entire jump combo with just kind of a flurry of attacks. So like this instead of the whole jump claw. So doing this allows me to skip getting the item that allows me to walk on sand as normal. I want to get to 198 here, because the enemy in the next room is a total jerk bag. Yeah, this guy will 3-hit kill me if his attacks ever make contact. Okay, we got him. An interesting thing about Silent Sands, the desert area that I'm in, all the doors have unique clips, like this one here. Oh yeah, so what is a Consklard? What is the Creeper? Well, I don't know, because I just jumped over his boss trigger. So, for whatever reason, the bosses in this game were coded. Many of the actual triggers in this game were coded rather lowly and have a max height, which exploiting wall runs to get that additional height that it gives you allows us to just jump over them. There are, I believe, 2 bosses where this works, and it's very bizarre because some cutscenes, like the consular fight and then the next boss fight, you can jump over it because it's just set fairly low to the ground. Others, the cutscene is insane. By using hack tools, the Japanese record holder by the name of Lohosvi, who by the way, I highly suggest going to watch his world record run of this game. But he tested in the room where you fight Shion that the cutscene trigger is like almost the entire room past that point. So there is just no way to jump over that, no matter how hard you try. Especially since you don't have double jump at that point. So this is probably the scariest area in this game, which, knowing how close to death I've come so far, it's probably going to be very bad luck. Thankfully, these guys give me a lot of EXP, so this room is fairly safe. That was kind of lucky. And so because I've been neglecting grinding, I level up like crazy in this area, especially with the constant 2x meter. I actually didn't need that strength bonus. So using wall runs here, I can jump over this gate, and then the second one I actually don't need wall runs for. We like to call that swag jump because it's risky, because one failed attempt will start to cost you time, but it looks really cool. So we're going to neglect the second hungry Roo because we only care about one more Roo in the game. That one gives me a piece of armor. It's not super helpful. Unica actually will get that one. By the way, that's the easiest door to clip through in the game. You literally have to point up, right, and Godspeed, and you'll get through that door. I don't even know how how many shortcuts they took with programming that. I literally got it the first try when I didn't even have a setup for it. After I learned that door was clippable, I guess. So at this point, these guys have an insane amount of armor. So the strategy to beat them is not to combat them to death, but to pull them into this conveniently placed toxic pool and just kind of poison them to death. Now, it's kind of gruesome, not gonna lie. But since they're red enemies have a flat amount of EXP they give you, and it's an extremely small amount. So it doesn't really matter that I don't get to kill them because they wouldn't have given me anything anyway. I'll try and get this clip, but if not, then I'll just... Whoops. Alright, I'll just finish him off. Okay, this clip is kind of hard, especially when enemies are nearby, because I can't just, if enemies are nearby, I have to actually click my mouse, and sometimes that just throws my position off and doesn't let me clip through the door. So we're going to take a little detour here to grab a piece of equipment, because we've been neglecting to grab equipment since almost the beginning of the game. And plus 30 armor helps tremendously when enemies in this area are hitting me for over 1/4 of my health. Also, that could have been terrible. Whee! I'm mostly just picking up kills here and there so I can get the EXP I want. At the end of this area, I want to be at 267, and the enemies here give more EXP than just about anything else in the game. So I lure these guys together. These little mantis-looking guys in particular give a ridiculous amount. Hear that level up sound effect a lot. Oops. Yeah, mouse controls not giving me the most pleasant of times.
So it's a reminder that all donations for this marathon will be given to the Red Cross, which is a humanitarian organization that provides emergency assistance, disaster relief, and education in the United States. 100% of donations, as well as any ad and sub revenue from Bulletin's channel, will be donated towards that cause. So, thank you for your donations, and continue to enjoy GhostKing's awesome run.
Okay. Thank you, Freddy. Sorry, this section is a little bit focus heavy. So I'm actually gonna hit the safety stat, or this, actually, never mind. Never mind, I don't actually have to do that, because I'm at full health. This next skip is kind of, you either get it or you don't in runs. If you miss it, you lose 45 seconds to a minute, but it's faster than reloading a save. I'm gonna try and get it. I've never gotten it in a marathon run, so cross your fingers. Oops, almost. Got it, finally. Oh man. I was practicing that for like a good hour before this run started. So I actually found out that you could jump over that boss's cutscene trigger. Initially when the runner who found it, little Nino, when he found the consular skip, he searched everywhere he could in the rest of the game to see if there were any more, see you in 8 hours. Is this a raid of some sort? Oh, nice. Yeah, initially when Nino found the skip, he searched everywhere else he could in the run, but couldn't find anywhere that there was any other bosses which you could jump over. And I tried to find a setup to prove that, hey, this guy might be skippable. And after just grinding attempts for maybe, gosh, like an hour or so, I ended up getting it, and then just being like, oh, hey guys, you can skip this boss now. And every other character can skip it, including Hugo. But it's weird. It's like, we think that there's a V-shaped cutscene trigger. So like on the sides, the trigger is closer to you than it is in the center of that little walkway. Also, Hugo has defected. What a surprise. Mainly Dallas tempted him with power. And once Rhea showed up again, they used that as an opportunity to corner her. And now that Toll is kind of, hey, keep your hands off of her, I'm a good guy now. And his brother just kind of just shoots lasers at his face. Oh, that was a Dragon Dark raid. So yeah, Dragon Dark is the guy who probably has sunk more work into learning how to run Hugo than I think anyone in a very long time has. At least on the western side of things. This game had a Japanese RTA community for a while, but they mainly ran Unica and Hugo, and nobody really took the time to learn or run Toll until, as far as I know, I think Losvi is really the only significant Japanese runner, and he actually runs this game on its English version, which is kind of our community, like in the West. Our de facto version of the game is the current Steam patch, which is 1.1.1.1. The initial 1.0.0.4 patch, which this game launched on Steam with, has a infinite jump glitch that's extremely hard to execute, but allows you to skip a ridiculous amount of things. If you think what I can do here is a lot of skips, that version is beyond busted by comparison. So he actually took the time to learn the English version of the game, and just utterly ran away with it. Oh yeah, so now we're officially on the good guys. Don't forget the flashy thing, Ghost.
Please don't forget the flashy thing.
Oh my god, you startled me. my volume on my laptop, which I'm using to connect to Discord, is set extremely loud. You startled the crap out of me.
It's because you shouldn't forget the sparkly thing. Shoot, I'm already. Mostly because I want to know what it is, honestly.
Well, you'll see here in a moment. You'll notice my frame rate is dropping in this area a little bit. That's probably partly my stream, but another part is this place just eats bitrate and frames. So wall running also works in corners, allowing us to jump up here, which I'm going to take a little detour here to go and talk to the last Rue. Thankfully, Rotafruits are not bound to specific Rues, so I can feed any Rue any Rotafruit. Yeah, this game is one giant tower. It's 25 floors long and has a huge variety of locales within, though. Casually, this game takes about 10 hours to beat on each character. Probably should have just jumped over that. It's actually a good thing that I take damage there, because my my boost recovery rate actually goes up the more damage I take. Also make sure not to forget to equip things, Ghost, because you do that all the time. So we can actually clip through the door, but we're going to take a quick little detour to grab this piece of armor here called the Brave Armor. And I'm going to make sure I equip that, because forgetting to equip it spells almost certain death. Oh boy. So Confusion reverses my controls. It is the worst status effect ever. And I failed to clip into the staircase. You can actually clip into the staircase for whatever reason. Let's just say this game's coding. There we go. It's not a straight path. There's actually an invisible wall there, so you have to kind of clip through it at the right spot. So I'm just finishing these guys off for a couple extra bonuses. I wanted to get to 278, which I did. The door clip on this door is really easy. There's like a little purple circle on the right side of the door that anywhere on that circle will get you through the door. And this is Kishgal. So now we're finally going to get our chance to duel one-on-one with the guy who killed our master. Our mentor. But he can also go Super Saiyan as well. So we're going to show him a little trick, which you guys so generously donated for. So that's what the big flashy thing is. I have to kind of be careful here because although I am well equipped and this is on easy, he can still do a lot of damage to me. And it is still very possible to die on this fight. Unfortunately, the attack consumes my entire meter. So, I just wanted to do it again to show it off, because I think it's a cool attack, and it's a shame we don't actually pick it up in the speedrun. So, we get this rod named Rod. There's no specialness to its name, no subtitle, no, like, divination or fancy rod or anything. And it's basically the same item it was in East 1, which, in East 1, you visit a world of mirrors in the tower, which we will visit in this game as well. And the rod allows us to teleport through mirrors, which is why we actually do this fight. So before Kishgal is able to land in the finishing blow, Yunica is able to use her not magic sword to fend Kishgal off. Part of her whole story is she can't use magic, which I think is a bunch of nonsense because she can shoot a fire phoenix out of her sword. And you could say the magic is in her sword, but I just find it defeating the purpose. Ultimate stair climbing simulator. Yeah, no, we don't climb stairs, we jump through stairs. Okay, I don't need my notes anymore because I got the flash and I equipped the armor. There's one last thing I will need to equip, but I've never forgotten to equip it. And even if I do, it doesn't end the run, it just is an inconvenience more than anything. So I'm trying to get wall runs here. It's not the easiest thing to do when I'm constantly double-clicking my mouse in order to slide. So I actually want to jump into these so I don't have to spend as much time floating on the little hover pad. So it saves a couple, like, frames. So the route we're taking here is the route in order to get the final Claria ore in the game, which will max out our strength stat. It's also almost the fastest way to get through this area, so getting this on the way there is a nice convenient plus. So the next boss, I can also exploit the invulnerability glitch that I used on Xion, which I will proceed to do. It's not super important. The setup is slower than I often go for, but it is a consistent setup for getting this for the most part. So again, I enter this fight with no hit detection. For whatever reason, we can sometimes get it back, regardless of whether we use Godspeed or not. But this fight is actually really easy, regardless of whether you get it. So it's more for novelty's sake than anything else. So Hugo's finally showing these guys that he has become a good guy, even though he has his demonic powers. So Zava decides to summon these giant two ugly heads, who I personally greatly dislike because they were probably the most frustrating boss in East 1. So I'm going to go for a quick kill here. I'll kind of explain how that works. So she's going to go into these heads. A quick kill is basically any time where I'm able to down her before she's able to jump into the heads a second time. So as soon as she starts to rise, I use Charged Thunderclaw to prevent her from going back up. Ah, she got in again. It's kind of random which direction she goes in. Alright. Decent fight. She can also do this attack where she just becomes invulnerable, hovers way above where we can even reach her, and does an attack that takes like 15 seconds. So not getting that attack is a win in my book. So before she gets kind of the chance to awaken her full power, which she shows here, where she just summons these guys, yet again our allies decide, hey, Toll, we're here, you know. And just kind of save our butts. Anyway, this blonde-haired knight is Galleon. He's actually the first boss of Toll's story, but we skipped him. So, again, you see more of these characters if you play as either of the other two characters, Hugo or Unica. I would definitely recommend this game. I mean, I learned how to speedrun it, and I've sunk over 300 hours into it. It's a fun, simple action RPG, and on a Steam sale, you can get this game for, gosh, $6. We also have a very cool speedrunning community. If anyone who has played this game is interested in learning how to run this game, you know, we have an active Discord, a lot of cool people. So this community is pretty cool, and I'm very glad to be a part of it. I run one other East game, East Memories of Salsetta, which is a very different run from this one. I can assure you this is probably the glitchiest East run outside of East 1 for the Master System, which has a wrong warp that you can beat the game in 30 seconds. So again, we use corner wall running abuse. It's a good resource for speedrunning. Depends on the game. SDA has some good resources. Speedrun.com has some good resources. I would personally just, you know, if there's a game you want to learn, just ask somebody who runs the game, and get in touch with other people who run the game, and just ask them questions. For this game, you know, you could just ask one of us, Tsukibaka. Just go on the leaderboards and look around for a couple names. Tsukibaka, Felvisage. We're a lot of cool people willing to help people out learn this game. Okay, so this trick is actually 2 parts. Setup is not the easiest to figure it out, but yeah, we need to be in a precise position and then put the cursor on the door. Okay, we didn't mess that up. So yet again, we're entering a boss fight with no hit detection. As if that hasn't kind of gotten silly enough. Up till now, we have basically rendered 6 bosses non-threatening, because we jump over 2 of them, or 3 of them, kind of, and then render 3 unable to actually even make contact us. I actually made a video guide tutorial on about 60% of this game. Oh no. Are you kidding me? Well, I'm gonna have to place this fight slowly. I accidentally used Godspeed. I failed. Alright, I'm actually gonna load up a save, because I don't want to waste my time on that fight and just die. I haven't practiced it in a while. So this technically renders my run null and void, but whatever. We'll finish it. That was a very scrub mistake of me. Yeah, a lot of this game took practice. I don't mess this up. That was really bad. So the thing is, I lose my invulnerability / no hit detection if I use Godspeed, and I accidentally press my magic button before switching it over to another form of magic. Oh well, this run was definitely not PvP pace. So now I just clip through his hitbox and take no damage. So we just bully Hugo to death. So now we have finally cast off the dark powers that have taken his mind, and he's returned to normal. I love that line. Hugo just, as soon as you beat him, he's like, "You're a real jackass, you know that?" I'm really happy with what Xseed does for their translations. The company that produces the East series in the West is Xseed, and they do a pretty good job. So Hugo gives us the Goddess Ring. This item does different things depending on the character, but as Toll, it just gives me a nice strength and defense bonus of +5. So one final thing to do, and that is to take out the final boss. I ran out of magic, so I just kind of slided. Sure, I equipped the Goddess Ring. So voila, we are finally at the top of the tower, thousands of feet above the land. And Dallas has started to extract the power from the Black Pearl. I'd also like to point out this scene plus this boss fight just utterly destroys bitrate. So if you see the screen become a effectively pixel vomit, that's just how hard it is to stream this game on a computer like mine. So now we're officially Dragon Ball Z. He can fire lasers, we can fire lasers. Yeah, unfortunately with loading that save, which I greatly apologize for, I don't actually have my boost ability or burst ability anymore. But at least I got to show that off and use that on Kishkal. So I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me for making a stupid mistake and having to load a safety save. I am bad at lasers. I have a friend who has a theory that all video games eventually devolve into lasers. So to start things off with the now overwhelmingly more powerful but actually really easy boss fight, Dallas, I want to charge up my Godspeed as early as I can, because once I finish his first phase, which is going terribly, he's going to have a shield which requires me to hit him with as many Godspeeds as it takes to finish it off. And then I could start attacking him again. He also likes to move around the battlefield, which makes for a very annoying fight that can cost you time. You have very little risk of dying here, but this guy can take up a lot of your time just by getting bad RNG. So in his third phase, I need to finish off these little satellite guys that orbit around him. He likes to do an attack which will have like an area of effect vacuum, and if I get caught into it, it just wastes time and can do a lot of damage. Casually, it's a death sentence. Thankfully, oh, there we go. I have to be careful. Even as it fades away, it can still catch me. So that prevented him from doing a laser attack to me. Alright. Yeah, he likes to walk out of bounds quite a bit. And sometimes, from just pure bad luck, you'll have to finish his second form with a he'll have an extra cycle on his second form, and we don't know what causes it, but it'll just cost like 20 seconds. So this fight likes to troll. So I think we're just barely gonna go over 140. Unfortunately, this last cutscene is about 5 minutes long.
Well, I do have a donation while we're waiting.
Awesome.
I got a $140 donation from Dan God of Thunder. We'd like to donate $10 to each item in Earthbound being named Jeff. Except
Yes!
for Jeff. Put $80 naming him Jeff. with GEOFF as opposed to
Oh, this is
GEFF.
real. Now we just need to get Daniel RGT in here to donate to get poo named Brazil.
That'd be great.
Jeff Bound will rise again.
All
Oh,
hail
and
Jeff
story update here. So basically, there's actually a mastermind, not actually a mastermind behind Dallas, but kind of an overseer who was sort of the spy in the army that we were working. And it actually turns out to be Tobal's father, so Darth Vader. And Tobal's father was like, now I have the Black Pearl for myself, so I'm just gonna take it and kill everything. And this just kind of sets up a chain of events in the East lore where the Fact family is just kind of screwed up, honestly. Anyways, so now that we have been thoroughly defeated by our father, who is slowly taking the power of the... Oh, by the way, we get the laser. This happens regardless of whether you get burst or not. But we're just no match for him. So whatever shall we do? Well, just let the things that has happened in the last few times, just let somebody kind of walk up in and just be like, hey, Toa, we're here to help. So I'm going to let the music play here, because this is one of the better music themes in the game, even though it doesn't really last very long. So, yeah, this is actually the title theme of the game. Genesis Beyond the Beginning, I believe, is its full title. But unfortunately, we don't get to hear it play out in its entirety. Alright. Let's go defeat Darth Vader once and for all. So this is Darm Fact. His weak spot is, in fact, the Black Pearl, and we need, you know, an extraterrestrial, space voidy type final boss arena. Because why not? First off, I'm going to switch over to Thunderclaw. You'll notice I have a unique weapon here, which is the Silver Sword. As an homage to East 1, you need the Silver Sword in order to take out the final boss, even though the Silver Sword is not the strongest weapon in that game. It turns out it's actually Toal's sword, but Toal can actually shoot spears of light out of it. I'm just going to wait this out. So after the first cycle, it's actually RNG where the Pearl is between his left arm, right arm, and center. So I got unlucky here, and it happens to be on his right arm. Actually his left, but my right. So I sit through 4 cycles of this, and then I can finish him off. On easy, there's not much risk of dying to him. On normal, there's a lot higher risk of dying to this fight. It's actually a good thing we fell through the floor there. I'm intentionally taking damage so that my boost recovers quicker. Okay, second one this time. Indeed he did. Oh, what? My mouse cursor was not moving. Well, rip. Alright, so time is coming up here in just a moment. Falling through here is not the end of the world. Alright. When the screen flashes white after he takes his final hit is the end of the battle, and when we call time. Time.
Looks like the final time is 1:40:31.
Shoot. I even delayed it just a slight bit to make sure it would catch up. Darn. I was over my 140 estimate. An extra 5 minutes got added. I blame getting boost. And being out of practice a little bit. But we're under 145, which is good.
Great job. Good job. Ghost.
I got picked in most skip, which I have never gotten in a marathon run, so I am extremely happy about that. I practiced for like an hour and even found a slightly different setup to make it more consistent for me.
Nice.
Yeah, I should be probably getting back to the PB attempts pretty soon. So now we finished Kane Fact, and peace is returned to the galaxy. Well, no, but an interesting little note. Now that we finally purify the evil, Toll is going to lose his demonic form, and his gray hair is going to go back to its natural blonde. As a subtle little thing, his name is referred to as Demon Toll for the entire game, but once he gets his hair back, it just goes back to normal Toll. So we get one little dramatic cutscene, which... yeah, I'm never gonna live this down. So what's this game about, eh? We're trying to stop our father from becoming a pirate of the Caribbean. That's the plot in a nutshell. And don't mind these two winged cuties here. Alright. I'll let this one last little cutscene play out. There's a lot of like post-game cutscenes, but I'll just let this one go through and then I'll sign off.
We have time, no problem.
No. Alright, we got like a moment. So they turn themselves into statues, and this kind of just... Toll is actually the canon ending of the game. The other two have like their own endings, which not quite as bad things happen, but this sets up for Respawn a lot more. So now we finally lose our demon element. Alright. Joyous reunion. You'll have to play the game yourself to catch the rest. Alright, well thank you everybody for watching. There's a lot more cutscene after that, and I didn't feel like showing all of it. But yeah, I definitely recommend this game. So stick around. It looks like the next run will be Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg by Dan Ray. So got a whole good weekend full of good runs here. So thanks again everybody for watching.
Thank you very much, GhostKing. And we will get the next one set up. Wait, is that the right one? Next up will be Dan Ray with Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. We're getting it set up right now. We'll be up shortly. Everything's so peppy. It's nice. There we are. There we are. Hi, Dan. Hi, Dan.
Hey.
Looks like I'm hearing myself through your stream.
Oh, right. Oh, I forgot. I'm actually capturing my game audio through my stream. Should I just capture my mic through there too?
I can hear you through me. So you should need to capture your mic. You should only need to capture.
Yeah, but my game audio is going through my computer sound, not my.
Okay. Okay. So just capture your mic then.
Okay.
And I'll mute my stuff.
All right.
This is not exactly 4x3, is it?